toxic masculinity.
Florida to make deplatforming of politicians a crime.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy, right? So DeSantis, when I first read this, I actually thought that they were going to make deplatforming a crime across the board. Like you're not allowed to deplatform people for political speech or something like that, right? Just to silence them, which I would have loved. But they're not going that far. They're just dealing with politicians. So if I want to not get deplatformed off YouTube, I have to run for political office, which I'm totally willing to do. But let's see here. So Ron DeSantis has said, well, let's just go ahead and read this. This is on New York Post. Social media companies would be unable to permanently kick people off their platforms under a tough new Florida law. The bill passed by GOP dominated state the bill passed by the GOP dominated state legislature Thursday and awaiting Governor Ron DeSantis' signature would make it a crime to remove state political candidates from Twitter and Facebook and would mete out penalties of $250,000 a day for any statewide candidate who is deplatformed. Removing more local candidates would cost the company $25,000 a day. The bill also requires tech companies to give users 7 days notice if they're at risk of being banned and offer them the opportunity to correct the issue. Suspensions of up to 14 days would still be allowed. So that may mean, darling, that we might have to move to Florida. We might have to move to Florida because it's the only way we'll be protected from the job that I do.
But you have to be a politician.
No, anybody else just has a sort of... Now, what I would like to see anybody who is being suspended whose account is primarily political speech, right? You can show that your account is primarily specific political speech, and a judge decides this, that you are also protected. You cannot be kicked off the platform, right? And the reason I say that is because that is so critical in a democracy to have political speech be uncensored. The whole concept of free speech is listening to people you don't want to hear, not protecting the speech of people you want to hear. Of course you want to protect that speech. Everybody wants to protect that speech, but it's people people you don't want to listen to. That's the speech you really need to protect. Unpopular ideas, because unpopular ideas might be right. Suspensions of up to 14 days would still be allowed. So they could suspend you for 14 days, but they couldn't kick you off the company, the platform. So I would say that this bill needs to also encompass the unequal treatment of users, right? So if a user is being severely demonetized, their videos are being demonetized for political speech, or if their videos are being distributed in a way that is distinct from most other users, right? Like you shouldn't be able to pick winners and losers. YouTube shouldn't be able to pick winners and losers just because they don't like your political speech, right? Your videos should be promoted under the same algorithm as everybody else's. You shouldn't have a special algorithm for conservatives, which I think they do have,
Do you mean special algorithm just demonetize all of the videos, never show, unsubscribe? There's
No, they have lots of different ways of doing it. Yeah. Well, you need to uncover all the different ways they do it, and then specifically create laws to stop them from doing those things. And if they do those things, they get severely punished. A lot of people have said to me they've taken the libertarian position, and these are like Democrats. Well, a conservative. I thought you guys didn't like censorship. I thought you didn't like a regulation. No, we don't like regulation. We don't like regulation. But if you are a monopoly and you are, abusing the civil rights of millions of Americans, then yeah, that's why we have regulation. Look, yes, strict, hardcore libertarians don't believe in any kind of regulation at all. Conservatives believe in regulation. They just believe in sensible regulation. They just believe in limited government, limited regulation. But we believe in government. But in certain extreme circumstances, you do need to regulate. And, like Warren G says. And so we do, in fact, need to regulate here, I believe. What this bill is about sending a loud message to Silicon Valley that they are not the absolute arbiters of truth. GOP State Representative John Snyder said Wednesday. I love that. What this bill does is it sends a loud message that the Constitution does not have an asterisk that says only certain people, only certain speech is free and protected. Big tech advocacy groups have struck back, saying the law would violate First Amendment right to decide who can participate on their platforms. Not if it's treated as utility, right? You know, if you have a trash company and the city gives you a contract to take people's trash, and you know you find out that somebody on the that's in your jurisdiction to pick up trash, well, they bullied you in high school. You can't then just say, we're not picking up that person's trash. That's illegal. You have to pick up everyone's trash, unless they don't pay their bills. Okay, if they don't pay their bills, okay, you don't have to service them. But if they're paying their bills, you have to service them. You don't have a choice. Just because you own the trash company, that doesn't mean you're not, you're given the opportunity to perform a service for the public that no other company is permitted to perform, right? In that region anyway. In the same way, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, they all have these monopolies, these sort of de facto monopolies because of the nature of their businesses, and it's a kind of monopoly on a kind of a public platform that people need to use in order to speak to large groups of people. And when you restrict those people's speech, you then need to be restricted, right? If you're going to say we're only going to let Democrats express themselves on our platform, well, then that's a problem, right? That's a serious problem. We don't have anywhere else to turn to. And they've proven that because we tried to have Parler compete with Twitter, and they shut Parler down. Amazon shut Parler down, right? So they're acting together as a kind of monopoly. They're shutting other companies down so that nobody else can speak but them. They get to dictate who speaks and who doesn't. Let's see here. This is from Carl Szabo, vice president of the trade group Net Choice. He says, this bill abandons conservative values, violates the First Amendment, and would force websites to host anti-Semitic, racist, and hateful content. Well, that's right. That's right. They would actually have to post racist and anti-Semitic and hateful content. That is true. They would have to. But you know what the problem is? They already have all that stuff on there. On all the platforms, you can find hateful content against white people. You can find hateful content against Christians. You can find hateful content against men by feminists. All this stuff is in the mainstream even. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think people should be hateful against men. I don't think people should be hateful against Christians. I don't think people should be hateful against white people. But I will fight for your right to say that you hate me. I will fight for your right to say that you hate white men. I'll fight for your right to say that because this is America, and we have the right to say whatever we feel. We have the right to say whatever we think is right, whatever we think is true. And if you hate men, and if you hate white people, and if you hate Christians, you have the absolute right to say that on any platform. Okay? And unfortunately, these people who I also don't agree with, racists and anti-Semites and other hateful people, I don't agree with them. But I will fight for their right to speak as well, because all of these kinds of speech need to be protected in America. And they are protected by the First Amendment. But there is this loophole of, well, if it gets filtered through a private company, then we can just completely suppress everybody's right to free speech. Well, no, you can't. No, you can't. And this has got to be dealt with. And I love that DeSantis is doing so. Are you like a slob throwing candy into your face and dropping it all over your shirt? She's very yellow today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know maybe it's the light. Is that a white outfit?
It's a kind of like yellowish.
Yellowish, yeah. This degenerate Carl Szabo also said, content moderation is crucial to an internet that is safe and valuable to families and Floridian small businesses, but this bill would undermine this important ecosystem. We're not saying you can't censor pornography. You can censor pornography, but here's the irony about that. Twitter does not censor pornography. Sadly. All right, well, that's it for us. I think that's all, right? That's all the news?
Yep.
All right, shall we take questions and comments from our amazing YouTube followers?
Yeah.
Really, they're all just fans of Valeria. I'm just here talking while they look at you.
Okay. First comment from Matt Deckard.
Sure. I don't know.
No, sorry. Deckard. Deckard.
I don't know.
Okay.
Deckard?
Yeah. For $4.99 and comment just because.
Oh, what a gentleman. What a gentleman.
Okay. Next one from Jasmine Liebling.
Uh-huh.
Sweet, the hot Russian wife is back. Good
Yes.
catch, Mr. Reagan.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.